Hello, welcome to another Woolpatch Live. I'm getting the hang of this now. My name is Stuart and I run the Woolpatch, a yarn fabric haberdashery shop here in Suffolk, UK. And this is, I suppose, the channel showing everything off that goes on at the shop, whether we talk about products, whether we show off fabric, whether we talk about new wools, and the guests and the friends of the Woolpatch all join in some of our other shows. You might have seen Ting, who gets involved with our Strictly shows. You might have seen Carol in our Sewing Bee shows, which I know goes across the world now, the Sewing Bee. And also other types of friends, one being Fizz, producer Fizz. You can see her in the chat. Say hello, Fizz, everyone. You've probably seen the blue spanner wrench next to her name. She's moderating the chat. She's keeping the chat going. She also drops links into anything we talk about. We do try and put the show together. It has a schedule, and she keeps us on task with the links that you see. So if there's anything that you like that pops up, you can click on that link, and of course it stays there after the show is live. Now, because you're investing in time watching the Woolpatch, you can go to a special link that Fizz has got that takes you to my page on my site, the Woolpatch, and that shows off everything that we've seen on our show. And sometimes there are a few extras. It only lasts for the live show and 24 hours after, because we like to perhaps say thank you to you for investing in the 45 minutes or 20 minutes, however long you watch for. You never know, there might be a bargain in there too. So take a look. Right, let's thanks for that, Fizz, keeping everyone on track. Let's have a look at what's coming up then today. So running order, I've got hats and pom-poms, two hats to talk about, the Sidewinder beanie, and then we've got the Musselburgh, which is still #1 in the Ravelry charts. Then we've got our usual guest of the year. Then, yes, our special guest, Carol. You've seen her before. If you haven't seen her and you're new to the channel, she is a master tailor couturier. She knows everything, many years as a tailor and as a couturier, and for working on Savile Row in London. Then we've got the good old fashioned gallery, 8:30, many of your makes popping up. And then we go back to Carol for most of the show. Now, for those of you in the chat, we're trialing a new YouTube feature, which is the question and answer facility. Now, you should see there on your YouTube chat, right at the top, should show you where I've said, if you've got a question for Carol. If you have a question for Carol, this is where we want to make the most of being live. Type it in, and hopefully I can see, if I click on this box here now, questions. There's no questions. What? Come on, people, get typing them in. If you've got an interest in tailoring, dressmaking, sewing, she can give you sewing tips as well. I'm wearing my shirt that I've made. I thought it's only right when I've got Carol in. This is the Fairfield button-up. Look at that for a shirt. So she can help out with anything like that. So we're going to trial it. So it's going to be a very relaxed half an hour. Normally the Woolpatch shows are like a blistering bullet for an hour. So hopefully we can chill as we talk fabric, talk sewing, and all sorts. Now, I must just say, I feel like an old-fashioned DJ. My lovely in-ear monitors conked out 5 minutes before coming on air. So if I appear that I'm shouting, it's because I've got these huge things on. But I look the part for it too. And then, yes, as you can see on the running order, who wins the £25? A giveaway that we had on our special show 2 weeks ago on 2 Dudes Live, we gave away a competition, a word scramble anagram to win £25, an online voucher for those of you wherever you are, or you can come into the shop and spend it. And we're going to give away the £25 live. We've got the all the names plumbed in and we'll draw a name live if technology works. So there we are. Let's not beat around the bush. If you've watched our show before, we normally always start off with a finished make. I'm either wearing it, it could be a garment or it could be a knitted garment. So I'm going to show you off 2 hats that we're going to talk about. Let's take a look at this beanie. So we've got the Sidewinder beanie. I've talked about it many times before. Take a look at this. This is the Sidewinder beanie. It's by Aspen Leaf Knits. And I've talked about it on our channel. It's wonderful. This is done in Mallobrigo raster. Just give us a shout out in the comments if you've used Mallobrigo raster. It is really a wonderful yarn. Take a look here now. I've got some different ones to show you. Look at this bright new one, Immortal. It's like a neon green. And there are so many colours. I can't choose them all, but look at this one here. And this one's new. This purple one, Bay Electrica. All this information Fizz will give links to if you wanted to see it more. But it's a super chunky yarn, perfect for the Sidewinder beanie. I know many of us like knitting garments that knit up quick. Well, the super chunky does that. It is a lovely pattern. It has a nice, let's just go back to that video there again. It has this twisted stitch, and I can pause it hopefully. There, if you take a look, you've got, it's a very simple, intuitive pattern. You've got about five rows of stocking stitch, or 5 stitches of stocking stitch. And then you have this twisted stitch where you're kind of knitting the second stitch on your left needle out of sync. And that's how you get that lovely twist. And you then have 5 stitches of like a moss. You're going a knit, pearl. And you can see that there on the higher up. Because of that, it becomes very intuitive because it's done in the round. As you go round, you kind of don't really look at the pattern because you know where you are at all times. So it really is a lovely one to do. So can't recommend that enough if you like knitting with super chunky and if you like knitting it up quickly. Now, let me show you the Posh Pompoms. This is what I love about it. Look at these. Now, I tried to choose the Posh Pompoms that went with the Mallobrigo raster. And it sort of does. So look at this one with, what colour is that? That one's, I'm not very good with Aquita. Look at that. The purple for Bay Electrica, you could go purple pom-pom. Or how bright and daring, Barbie. That's got Lurex in, so it's got an extra shine. And, oh, let's get that. And what about the dark talisman there? If you don't want Mallobrigo raster, I understand it's not in everyone's price point, then next we have is Rowan Bigwool. Any fans of Rowan Bigwool in the chat? Look at this one. This one is a brand new colour from Rowan this season. It's called Nougat. Look at that. Now, just imagine doing the Sidewinder beanie in the solid colour. And then we've got, look. Look at that one. What have we got here? Fibre Hustle, good evening, Fibre Hustle. I've used Raster for the Twist of Fate cowl, super chunky and super warm. It is, but because it's 100% merino, it is, for those of you who don't know, Raster is a kind of a roving. It's hardly spun at all. If you unply it, you just get that basic, what they call roving. Rowan Big Wool, I think, is 2-ply. If we unspin that, yeah, there's just 2 plies there. But again, Rowan Big Wool is 100% merino. Merino being the softest of the sheep world. Don't get it confused with alpaca or anything else. But the Rowan Big Wool is delightful. I think I've got... Get ready for this one. Stunning neon orange. And look at that. Anyone like steps? Neon blue? I have to keep singing neon blue every time I say neon orange. And then we've got a beautiful mallard. You know the mallard duck with that lovely teal? Look at this one. Here. Wonderful. Really love that. And that's a different price point with the merino of the Rowan Big Wool. But it's, yeah, wonderful. Really, really like it. So good yarn to do for the Sidewinder. Now let's move on to the second pattern which I'd like to talk about, which a friend knitted for me. It's called the Musselburgh, and as I say, it's #1 in the charts so far in Ravelry. If you take a look at Ravelry and go to patterns, knitting, and click on most popular, it's #1. So let me show you the Musselburgh. Here it is. It's a double knit pattern with loads of options. And Letitia knitted this for me. And she said, oh, we could do it in 2-tone. I went, oh, yes. So I gave her some Rowan felted tweed. Look at that. And look at that crown as well. I know many people choose hats according to how the crown decreases go. Now, this is the best bit. It's, look at that. I'm just going to pause it there. It's 2-tone. Now, the pattern, when you download the pattern and pay for it, it's shown in either a hand-dyed yarn or a solid colour. But Letitia cleverly changed colour halfway through. You start at one end with your increases, you knit up, Letitia changed colour at the middle, and then carried on knitting to her decreases. And it's just wonderful, because what it means is you can then have a 2-tone hat. So if you didn't want the green showing, you just turn it the other way and have the grey. So let's go to here. It's clear there. So there's the green. It's not showing up very lime green on my camera. And then inside out. Now look at that. How do I get my directions there? Oh, there. Look at that crown. And as I say, many people, when knitting beanies, they'll choose the beanie according to the crown and how the decreases are done. And as you can see, there. And I'll just put it on. Look. Oh, go that way. There you go. See, it's really nice. And it's close to the head too. It's not really a slouchy beanie like I showed you before. It's just, and then if you wanted to, as I say, you could turn it in and then go like that. But this way is actually really nice because you then can see the little trim there too of the pop. What colours do you choose? You could choose anything with the felted tweed. There are so many colours of Rowan felted tweed, but you can use any double knit. Now this size is medium. So if you're going to pay for the Musselburgh and download it, because you've seen it on me, I'm the medium, size medium, all right? There we are. Musselburgh. And Musselburgh's a funny one. It's spelt kind of like Musselburgh, B-U-R-G-H. But of course, the way we speak here is bruh. The Musselburgh. A wonderful pattern, new to me. Go and check out the designer and buy it. If you like the double knit and the crown. Oh, let me show you. Oh, no, I can't show you that because I gave it to Ting. Hence why the Sidewinder was on the video. But you saw that there. Can we see the crown? Where's the crown? Look at that. Really, really good. Really, really good. Right, so there we are. So that's the Musselburgh. And we've got the Sidewinder beanie. Right, time for a bit of fun. Time for you to get interactive. Yes, it's Guess the Year. And we're keeping kind of on trend as well, as we've got a fabric episode. Carol's coming up after this. So let's go into Guess the Year. Take a look. How cool! How cool is that? Right, everyone, get ready in the chat. We've got a minute to put Guess the Year. What year do you think? 2 or 3 years. So I'll see what we get. Let's put a minute on the clock, which is there. And let's do that. And do that. And press play. Here goes a minute. Give us your years. Come on, pop them in the chat. Let's hear your years. What do you think? Does it look modern? Is it an old pattern redone modern? Take a look. Oh, evening Valerie, or afternoon Valerie, or good morning wherever you are. 2020. Diane says 2018. Pam's going for 1930. 20 seconds. Right. It's good, interesting that, yes, some different times there. So let's take a look. So the pattern is 2020, 2021 or 2022. So any of you lot that said that, give yourselves a pat on the back. I think if we're being precise, I think it's 2021 from this book. And if you haven't seen this designer, check her out. I'm probably going to pronounce her name wrong. Apologies. I'm going to go for Jacqueline. Not even going to attempt the surname. Jacqueline, this is the pattern here is the wool fork, and it's part of a capsule collection that she's released of knit and sew garments. And I have Fizz to thanks for this, and there is a lovely jumper in there that I would like to knit. It's got a lovely simple stocking stitch, but this detail down the side. But check her out. Fizz, as always, up to date. We'll put the link in the chat for you so you can have a look. What does Fizz say there? Hope Stuart caught Fizz's typo in the schedule. Oh, I don't know. No, you know me in this schedule. I start looking at it and I get carried away. No, I'm back onto it. I'm back onto it now. 8:20 as schedule. We're going to introduce Carol in 30 seconds. Hey, Carol. Right, I think, are you on? Yeah, unmute yourself, Carol. Are you on loud? This is the best thing about live. There we are. We can hear you.
Hello to you, Stuart.
Good evening from London, and I'm calling you from Suffolk. So we're not too far away, hey?
No, how much snow do you have up there, Stuart?
None yet, none yet. But I think higher up in England and into Scotland have got loads of snow.
Yeah, snowing now outside my
No.
windows. I can see.
What, in
Yes, so
London?
yes, little bit of little flurries, but down south of the river, they've got 4 inches of snow already. So
Oh my.
it's heading your way.
Oh, good. The ex-teacher in me now is coming out. I want a snow day. Right, viewers, so this is Carol, Master Tailor and Couturier. Carol, if you can, because we've got probably new people who have never met you or have never seen our shows before, can you give a minute sort of background on yourself and your work?
Okay. Well, I'm born in America, in Detroit, Michigan, and I moved a couple of times. I'm an ex-banker, but I've been sewing since I was 5 years old. I just didn't consider it a career. But then I had an opportunity to come to London and to meet some of the tailors on Savile Row, and I just told them I was interested, and they put me to work straight away. I made a footman's waistcoat, and then after that I was hired. And I spent a lot of time at various houses on Savile Row. I had a kiosk of my own inside Hardy Amy's, which I loved. And then I started going into managing houses, couture houses and tailoring houses. And then after about 20 years of that, I became an independent. So I have my own business now, and I do couture work and tailoring, classic bespoke tailoring, and I teach. And I chat to Stuart every now and then, which I really...
Oh, it's brilliant. And our story has been a magical one. It was, I think, a couple of years ago now. Carol emailed me, and I thought this email was too good to be true. I thought it was a junk one, so I didn't reply or anything. And then I think I think you might have emailed again, and I thought, go on.
Yeah, I pressed it a little bit because I thought this is fun, and because you got the IT background, which I don't have, and I watched your sewing bee commentary, and I thought it was such a lively conversation, and you and then I thought that the sewing bee could use some technical input.
Yeah.
And so, but you would be the perfect person to pull that off.
And then from there, I then replied, and it just all fitted into place. We said, well, let's do a show. And we've done it for 2 years now, where we watch the show, and then we just go a bit closer into depth, because they don't have the time to do that. And as we've said over the years, it's become more of an entertainment program than the education based idea that it was at first. So we then sort of provide that education. We learn together, don't we? We try out new skills. We teach the skills that came up that perhaps they never got the time to do so. And I know I've learned so much over the last 2 years, and I think you learned a bit of patchwork this year, didn't you? When they did the quilted jacket.
I did. I learned a bit about patchwork, and I was just watching your earlier segment, and I thought, I've got to learn to knit. The garments are beautiful. I love that beanie hat. I'd love to do that.
Absolutely. And of course, with this weather, we need it now, don't we?
I know. I'm all bundled up.
So, Carol, you're joining us because obviously I've got fabric at my shop, and I'm learning dressmaking, and that's so we often talk about wool, or we often talk about fabric. So it's very much a fabric episode, but also there is a question and answer facility on YouTube now. So I thought, well, if we're doing this live for the first time ever, why don't we trial the question and answer facility out on the YouTube chat? Now, I've gone into it, but I can't see any questions. So I don't know whether that's because it's a technical error or because there is no one here watching that is interested in fabric. That might be the case. There's no problem with that. Many people who watch the Woolpatch are knitters, or they are patch workers, so may not have specific skills that they want to know about. But I'm just going to try dropping in. Oh, it's refreshed. Oh, there, we've got loads now. Thank you, everyone.
Oh,
brilliant.
Excellent.
I think it was my computer's on a go slow. So let's just chill out now for 5 minutes, and let's do some of these questions and answers.
Okay.
We'll do a couple online live, and then I know we've got a couple that we got emailed to us. One from Shari, who is in the chat. Practical Stitches, thank you, Practical Stitches. We'll get your question, and another one. So let's work down the line now. YouTube, everyone, doesn't talk to this lovely software that we've got. So I can't put your questions on the screen. So I just have to read them out. Right, let's go up and up there like that. First question. Fiona says, how did you start working in tailoring?
Well, I studied on my own for a while by reading, and then I got a job in working for a Polish tailor who mainly did alteration work. And that is the place where I learned the most, really, because you don't have the pressure of making, but you get to take a garment, undo it. Maybe the client wants it taken in so that the waist is tighter or the hips are tighter, or they need it let out. And the lovely thing about tailoring is the garments are cut and put together with an inlay, a set of inlays, so that you can rebalance the garment and you can restyle it. So I learned a great deal from this Polish tailor. I also picked up a couple of classes. We had a tailoring class in my high school. So along with all the other college prep courses, I took a tailoring class. And then, of course, I was lucky enough to, while I was growing up, to have a mother and aunties and grandparents, and everybody seemed to make their own clothes. It was just what was done in those days. So, now not so much, because the cost of clothing has come down and the number of drops per year are so many. There's such a wide selection of choice. So the fashion industry is rather, seductive. And as things get more closing to be coming down in price, where some clothes, where the cost of making and knitting and crocheting, these material costs have gone up. So I would just say I started out because it was a necessity. Most people, when I was growing up, made their own clothes, and we had a lot of people that helped us. So those were my first lessons. Okay. But coming to Savile Row, then things got serious, because I thought I could sew when I came to Savile Row, but I realized how much I needed to learn.
Okay. Question from Rob. When I'm cutting a pattern piece on the fold with a patterned fabric, how do I line up the pattern on the underside of the fabric? Now, I know this is going to be hard because we can't really see it and we're trying to visualize it. Yeah. So do the best you can with that one.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering if Rob is cutting his garment out with the right sides of the cloth together, so that he's looking at the wrong side. And then he's trying to, manipulate the pattern so that it's maybe central. Some of the pattern is central where he wants it, or some of the dominant parts of the print are where he wants it. But a good way to do that is to put some pins on the right side of the fabric where you want certain things positioned. Or, so that's one way, mark it with pins so that if you're working from the wrong side, you know where those pins are. And the other way to do it would be to lay the pattern out on the right side and just baste around it so that you have the marking, and then you can look at your fabric, say, unfolded, and you can decide what you want to be central, right? Now that might be on the fold already, or it might be just off. So take a look at get to know your fabric all opened up. Then pick a line that you think should be the fold line. That would be the most attractive placement line. Does that sound? How does that sound?
It's over my head, but Rob, let us know. I think he's live in the chat, so he might say something there. Okay, let's go to one that I got via Instagram and email. This is for a wool coat. I know pad stitching along collars helps make the coat lay nicely. Shari Practical Stitches, who's submitted it. Any tips on how much, how close, which direction should the stitches go? Any help you can give?
Sure. Okay. Padding stitches are used to secure interfacing or canvases to the main fabric. And a pad stitch, I'm sure that the caller knows that they show on the wrong side of the interfacing side of the canvas side. But when you insert the needle, you just take a little bit of the fabric side, so that you see at the end just a set of dimples. Now normally you start a padding stitch. Let's say you're working on a collar. You start from the top of one side of the collar, and you work to the bottom of that piece, and then you start from the bottom and go to the top. That gets you a chevron, okay, that is slightly displaced, but they're in a chevron.
Right.
Okay. I anticipated this question because I was thinking, what's one of the most complicated things to do? So I actually have an example.
Oh,
okay?
Look at this.
I have a coat here. Now, Stuart, you tell me if you can see this.
We can.
One side of this is a demonstration piece. So one side shows the padding stitches. The other side is finished. Now on the collar, where am I here? Yes, on the collar, the lapel, the stitches are quite close together, and you can see the chevron. You see there?
Go the other way a bit. Oh yeah, you can see it now. Yeah, go the other way. That's it.
That way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so you can see how they've set it in a chevron. Now, so they're quite close together. And they're also quite close together on the collar. I'm going to show you a little bit of the collar. Is that legible?
Go
Stuart?
higher. That's it. And then the other way. I'm the same. Trying to get... Yeah, I can see him. Yeah, cool.
Okay. Now, you're not going to be able to see on the underside, but on the underside of the collar is where you see there's just the little dimples. I don't know if you can make that out.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Now, inside the jacket, where you have the canvas for the chest area, you can see that the padding stitches are larger.
Wow, yes.
They're larger on the inside, and it's softer because you want the chest piece to form over time, and you want a little bit of shifting allowed. Okay. So the pad stitches are closer together when you want something to roll nicely. So a collar, you want it to roll out, toward the body. Okay, you don't want a collar sticking up. You want it to roll toward the body. And that's when you use your hands to guide the stitches. So you would start on the inside of your collar with the padding, and then you work to the outside. And as you're working, you roll the fabric. So that develops that curve. And we can talk about that more in detail. But basically, I would say for a collar or a lapel, your pad stitches are closer together. If you're putting a chest piece in, or if you just want to secure the canvas in the four parts, the fronts, use a looser stitch, and the stitches can be farther apart.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carol. And that's the beauty of doing this live. Hopefully, this format might be developed into a separate show where we have like a pro show, question and answer, where you actually need longer than an hour. So we might have an hour and a half or a 2-hour show once a month with Carol, just talking fabric and techniques, and see how that goes. So that's why we're trialing this question and answer now. Another one. Ready, Carol?
Okay, off you go.
This is from Leah. She submitted a question in the YouTube question chat. That's good. Leah says, I've been working on getting well-fitted bodice and skirt and sleeve blocks. How do you account for the natural asymmetries? I don't want to pad my garments as I've seen suggested.
Right, okay. Well, you're quite right about the asymmetry in the human body, because you're going to have a lower shoulder, you're going to have maybe a thicker bicep, and we have to deal with this when you're custom making your clothes. If you have a lower shoulder, normally in tailoring, we call that a down right or a down left. And you normally just cut that shoulder slightly lower, okay? If you cut your shoulders symmetrical and one shoulder is lower, you can pad it, use two pads on one side and one pad on the other, but cut that down to accommodate that asymmetry. If you've got one hip that's fuller than the other, put some more on that side of your garment and take it off the other side if it's a flatter side, and your garments will fit a lot better. And if you want to disguise that, then you can use a print, instead of a solid cloth. But I would say you're quite right. Don't pad everything up so that it's symmetrical. Go ahead and deal with the lower shoulder or the fuller hip, or whatever you're trying to conceal or enhance.
Brilliant. Thank you, Leah. Hope that helps. Thank you, Practical Stitches. Hope that helped you and everyone else. We're going to take a little break. We're going to come back to Carol for another 15 minutes. But yes, it's that time where we just chill a bit and we celebrate everyone's work in the gallery. So don't go anywhere, Carol. You're going to watch the lovely work in the gallery. So many pictures submitted. We've got lots of knitted garments, all sorts. You'll really enjoy it. So if you need to go and get a drink, you can get a drink. If not, put your knitting down, put your sewing down, and enjoy everyone's work in this gallery. Oh, just, do you know, I love that section because you just suddenly appreciate everyone's creativity. How was that for you, Carol, watching it?
Oh, absolutely. I can't believe the detail. The
Yeah.
detail in some of those socks. The pairs of socks are beautiful. And then the little madcap creatures are just
Yeah.
adorable.
And that
You know,
last
it must be very
go on.
well. It must be very satisfying to work on a smaller piece as well. You know, because
Absolutely.
for me, the garment is so big, I'm using so much cloth. It must be nice to just have a little ball of
That's
yarn and make some.
That's why I only knit beanies and little garments. Now that last one we saw, I just want to talk very quickly about Mary, the crochet sort of garment you saw there with the greyhounds. She couldn't come into the shop because she's in Norfolk, so about 50 miles away. And so she asked for a Zoom class to learn crochet. So she emailed the shop and I said, yeah, we can do that one afternoon. So we set up the Zoom and I taught her to crochet. Literally everyone. It was about a month ago, 2 months ago. And now Mary has gone off and look at that, there she's crocheting that and then knitted the greyhounds in. It's just phenomenal. So it makes my heart burst when I'm seeing, well, it's like the teacher in me when you teach pupils and you see them do well with their exams and go on to whatnot, to then see someone you
Yeah.
taught crochet over the Zoom and then you see their pictures being emailed in. Just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right,
Oh,
let's
and
get
what a success for this kind of technology. That is
absolutely.
such a success. Able to teach, you know, in the comfort of her own home.
Yeah.
So you've got a really good thing going here. I'm so pleased for you.
And being able to then share it, because Fizz has been very clever in the chat, and we've tried to give the details. You never know what garment or item may inspire someone. They might go, I want to knit that, and then the beauty of this, they can. So let's get back to our little question and answer. We've got another 10 minutes or so. This one was from Instagram, from Lisa. She's got a fitting question, Carol. Getting the right fit is such a difficult problem for me. She says, I measure myself and the pattern. I make a toile. I then try them and then make adjustments and I repeat. But when I get to toile 3 or 4, it's still not quite right. And then I lose hope and I give up. So how can we help Lisa?
Oh, right. Well, the first thing I would say is a measurement on the body is made up of girth and molding in the body, and the distribution could be different to what you have on your pattern. You know, I've got, say, a fuller tummy, right,
Okay.
and a flatter seat. So if I measure my seat, okay, it's got a different distribution from that of the pattern. So I think the first thing to do, if you're making 3 or 4 toiles, and it does sound frustrating if things aren't right for you at the end, I would be really interested to know what isn't working about the toiles. Is it that, say, it's too tight in some areas, or there isn't enough lift in the arm? Say, if the sigh is too low, you're going to have some restriction there. Where is the problem? And maybe we could take this question further, Stuart, because I would have thought that if you perhaps make your garment a little larger than you are, and then put it on, and then pay very careful attention, add some pins in and create some sculpture, because if you have a larger toile to work with, then you can do some more pinning, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then come up with shape. But if things aren't working by the second or third toile, I would want to know why.
Okay.
What are the problems? And maybe we can take this further with
Yes,
with with,
absolutely.
with your your audience member,
Yeah.
because I'm very happy to help.
There you go.
But I think I would need a little, just a,
Yeah.
why toile number 2, the 3 isn't working.
Hey, Elise, you can Instagram that to me because I know you Instagrammed this message in the first place, and I know you'll be watching on catch up by all means. Carol is so welcoming with her time, and we'll try and help with that. So you can Instagram that to me, and I'll pass it on. Another question
Please
from
do.
the YouTube chat. Big Blue Dog. He says, what would Carol recommend simply as a first garment for a sewist? Big Blue Dog is a quilter and a bag maker. And they're saying, what is a first garment for a sewist to attempt to make?
I would try a waistcoat.
Oh, right.
Something that you want to wear. That's going to be useful. A waistcoat can be very complicated if you put pockets in it and belts on the back, but you might just try making a simple waistcoat. And you can put a zip in the center front, or you can put some poppers, or you can put buttonholes if you have that facility on your machine.
Yeah.
But I think that would be quite a simple garment to start with. Or the other thing is maybe a pair of gym shorts, something like that.
Yeah,
A pair of running shorts.
Big Blue Dog, don't do a shirt like me. Now, this is a lovely shirt, and I think Fizz has got the link to this shirt. I loved making it, but I think what I liked about it was there were so many new techniques, but all at once, it's very overwhelming. And I was getting confused with right side and wrong side, especially when I had to do the placket from there to there. So yeah, don't start with a shirt.
Yeah, like a waistcoat or a simple drawstring pair of shorts, or drawstring pair of or elastic waist jogging bottoms, or something like that. Something warm and useful for this season.
Another question from the YouTube chat. Jan says, any tips on how to choose a dress form? My measurements cross 2 sizes.
Yeah. Well, I had that problem the other day because I'm working on a new collection of garments which are for the fuller figure. So I went and got a size 16 form. And I found that it's a bit smaller than I expected. I have around the shop lots of 8s and 10s, and I think they tend to run small. So if you're between sizes, I would just maybe get the larger size, because I find the larger size more useful because it runs small.
Okay. Valerie's asked a question. I don't know whether you can help with this one. It might be more technical and getting someone in. She says, how do I fix the tension on my machine when the yarn on the thread on the bottom comes up and it looks like a nest?
Well, this might seem obvious and maybe silly for me to say, but check that you're using the right bobbin. That's the first thing. Check that you've wound it evenly. And when you're winding the bobbin, you need a little bit of tension on the thread. I wind my bobbins on the side of my industrial machine, and I can control it. I can sort of hold the fabric back a little bit. If you're winding on the top of a domestic machine, you can do the same thing. You can just pinch the thread and just add a little drag to it so that it winds evenly. Check the tension settings. When things just usually jam up in the bobbin, it's usually because the bobbin is not wound, or it's not put in the bobbin case correctly.
Absolutely. And from doing machines myself, I have found out that normally yarn bath or yarn nesting, the first thing from my experience is actually the needle, but actually, yes, they put the bobbin in wrong. You need to check when you put your bobbin in, that's your bobbin, and your thread comes down, is it a P shape with the thread on the left, or is it a Q? Now, most machines, they go in as a Q. So you've got to push it in, and you've got to... now I've confused myself.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at
Oh, now I've really confused myself now. Because... P...
Yeah, because you're talking about the Q. They go in, and then they come out...
I think it's a P. I think someone's going to write in the chat now. I say this every day. Isn't it funny? As soon as you start thinking of something...
No.
Yeah.
It left and right confuses me, but it depends. I use an industrial machine, and
so yours, will yours be different then?
Yeah, well, it's the you load the bobbin underneath the machine.
Oh,
You
yes.
kind of have to,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
actually see it.
Yeah.
I do use domestic machines every now and then if I want to do like a hemming stitch or a zigzag or something. Um, but you got to be careful that you plunk the bobbin in the case correctly and then feed the thread around the bobbin and through. And then another good thing to do is when you draw the bobbin thread up. So now you've got your two threads,
Yeah.
your upper and your lower. Join them together, put them to the back of the machine.
Yeah.
And when you start to sew, if you have a temperamental machine, hold those two threads so you get your first couple of stitches and then you can let them go. Because sometimes that causes a bit of a jump, you know.
The wonders of the chat. Jan says, it's a P on my singer. And then Fizz says, mine's a P. Yes, it's a P. Make sure it's a P shape. Or check your needle, Valerie. That should help. Right, we've got two more questions we'll do quickly. This question is from Jacob. Thanks very much, Jacob. Hi, Carol. Do you use a small ribbon on the roll line as well? I don't know what that is. I'm sure you could help.
Yes, I do. I think I do. I have it. Yes, on the roll line of this. I don't know if this is helpful.
I love this. Carol just gets something out. It's brilliant.
So this is the roll line of the lapel, right?
Oh, I see. Yes.
Where it rolls. And yes, I do use a piece of silesia to reinforce the roll line. So it doesn't crush into a V when it stays proud. You see how it's just rolling.
What
and
did
you
you
see
say?
how the pad
Can you say that again? Vilesia?
silesia. Yes. Silesia. You can get it from a trimming merchant.
Okay.
It's a cotton. It's a soft cotton fabric. You can use it for pocketing. But you can see how when it rolls, do you see that?
Yeah.
Do you see
effortless?
It rolls.
Yeah.
And that's because you start padding here and you pad to the outside and you roll as you go. And you get a nice proud line. So there you go. Yes, I do use a ribbon, but it's a piece of silesia.
Thank you, Jacob. And our last question, back to Practical Stitches. She says, do you have any books you can recommend? And I think we've talked, or you've shown a couple books in the past, haven't you? And one was like what I call the Bible. But can you recommend, maybe people could put it on their Christmas list from Father Christmas?
Yeah. Look,
what have you got?
Buy this book. Reader's Digest, Complete Guide to Sewing.
Yeah.
Any question you have about sewing, you will find the answer. And I don't know if you can see this, but the illustrations are beautiful. They're very clear. And I just like the size of the book because you've got a long space there. You know, the pages are set up beautifully. Everything's in here. There's a skirt waistband, if you can see that.
Brilliant.
You see how detailed the illustrations are. It takes you through every step. There's a companion to this too. It's the Complete Guide of Needlework. And I use that to refresh my buttonhole stitches. So, and do you know, while we're on the subject, I just lent this book and it's come back. Now, look how many.
Other way.
Look how many
other way.
Other way.
Push it.
But look how many. Look how many. Can you see all the Post-its I have in here?
No, go the other way. Keep going the other way.
Can you see?
That's it. Yay. Oh, you got it again.
But I want it now. This is a very, very, very good book. It just talks about clothes, why we wear them, what's the history. It's a fascinating account. It's part of the Art of Living series. Okay. It's written by John Harvey.
Okay, I know Fizz is going to be super good. She'll put the links in somehow. She will find it and put the links in. And as we say with books, if you can, you've got a local bookshop near you, please try them first. Try asking them if they can order in. Don't forget your wonderful library. You can ask your library to get it in. They will find it from wherever. or then Amazon. I know we all know how good Amazon is, but it really is. And you know me, because I run my own shop. So it would be good to try your local bookstore first. I know it might mean paying more money too, but please, people, think about what that money does to the local economy and that local business too. Sometimes we just can't compete with Amazon prices. I'll get off my soapbox now. Carol, that's been wonderful. Before we go, I just want to tease the audience out there, because we had a little trip to London a couple of weeks ago. Well, I had a trip to London to meet Carol, and we went to an amazing haberdashery that also serves Strictly. So we were chatting haberdashery as we were talking Strictly. Take a look at this. So we're going to go into MacCulloch and Wallis to have a look at some fabric, lots of fabric, sequins.
Anything you want, trimmings,
Tulle.
fabrics, advice.
And then things like this, which would go very well as you can chevron that or as a trim.
Wow.
And on camera, that looks very good. This set, is this all about the architecture and building it and having the fastenings that will hold things together? And it is quite modern to do this, to have an exposed zip. This is a separating one, but you could, and you get around it by just cutting that off. Whip stitching that together.
I actually think that one was on Strictly a couple of weeks ago.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
really?
there was Diane was in a green dress.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the actual zip. It was right there. It was an interesting design.
Yeah. They're making the zip the feature
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
garment. Grosgrain ribbon, lovely in millinery, or as waistbands, because again it has that non-stretch.
Oh, I didn't know that's how you pronounce it.
Oh, grosgrain, yeah.
I've been saying Grosgrain for years.
So I always use a glass head pin, always.
But
And
always
again,
glass head.
But always, so
Yeah.
you can see it.
Yeah.
You know. Now we can't call this a trip to the turning merchants without looking at the velvet trim, the classic, very formal. And I bet people even buy that to wrap presents in.
Yes, yeah. Where's the red? Yeah, there you go.
There you are.
Christmas red. I bet you wanted to be in that haberdashery with me and Carol, didn't you? It was
Lovely.
It was such a fun time. And now, viewers, we were in there for about an hour and a half, and Carol was just taking me up and down a lovely little shop, very famous in London. Carol's been there. You've been going there many a year, haven't you?
Oh, about 35 years I've been shopping with MacCulloch.
Fabulous. So that film is going to come out. Go on.
I was going to say they do good online sales as well. Okay.
We had fun there. That video is going to come out over Christmas, a lot longer. It'll be a special video where you can hear Carol talk to me about zips, about needles, about pins, about ribbon, all sorts. It's just, and if you like haberdashery, it will be a good one to watch. And if you like Carol, you can watch that too. Right, Carol, will you stay with me? We've only got a few minutes left before we come to the end of the show. But I want to do the announcement of the winner show, a special Tube Dude show that I did, a Christmas show. We had a competition where the prize was a massive £25 gift voucher to spend at my shop. They could have spent it on fabric, they could spend it on haberdashery or wool or whatever. It was a competition. And what they had to do was they had to solve an anagram. And that anagram was all jumbled up, and they had to email in specially with their answer. Well, the answer was Winter Wonderland. Wonderful. Very, very topical. Now, if I just look at my stats, a whopping 97 people emailed in. Now, for my little show, that's an awful lot of people, Carol, isn't it?
very good going. Yes, excellent.
97 people, and they took the time to email in their answer, and it was Winter Wonderland. Out of those 97, I think it was only one person got it wrong, but I think they might have got confused because they were answering one from another show. So 96, if I'm just double check. 95 actually, yes, entries. And first of all, I just want to quickly, within like 10 seconds, thank those people that emailed in, because they didn't just email in their answer. They actually wrote some lovely things at the same time, like saying, thanks for a great show. I really enjoyed finding you. I came from Fibre Hustle. I came from Cabin Boy Knit. So many of these other channels have helped me grow. Big shout out to Fibre Hustle, because they arranged it all. Chip and Aaron from Seattle. See, the world's a small place online, isn't it? And these people took the time to not only to watch and not only to enter, but to leave a little message saying thank you and just saying nice things about the show. So I just want to big shout. So many names. I saw Anne going up there. I think that was my auntie Anne. So many names. I've told you not to enter. So many names. But those people all left lovely messages. Right, let's go to the wheel. I've loaded everyone's names up in the wheel. I'm going to go here. Here's the names. You can see your names in there. I can see, who's that? That's James. That's Anita, Patricia. All those people, all those answers. We're going to spin it live. Get ready, Carol. Here comes. Who is going to win? Click to spin. Here we go. Get ready for a big cheer. It's slowing down. Eleanor! Congratulations, Eleanor. Eleanor, you have won £25 as a gift voucher. Are you a sewer, Eleanor? Are you a fabricer? Are you a crafter? I hope the £25 can be used. Even if you're abroad, I will treat you to shipping because you took the time to invest in me and the show and the competition. So congratulations to Eleanor. So thank you very much. Well, there we are. Look, 2 minutes past 9. The trial of the question and answer worked. I think, Carol, we didn't have too many issues, did we?
No, I think that went very smoothly, and I hope if I haven't answered something that they'll persist, and we'll get that answer for them. Okay?
And look forward to new shows that we'll trial, because Carol's got an iPhone 2, so we can have a third camera and we can watch her sewing. And if you just talking sewing with none of the rest of the Woolpatch show going on, you will love it. And then just think of the other people that we can have. We can have different professionals on talking about knitting, talking about crochet, talking about whatever, because that's our community, isn't it? So many talented people out there. Carol, thank you very much for your time. Viewers, thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Get ready for Christmas. We'll see you in the new year. I hope you have a lovely Christmas. What are you doing for Christmas, Carol?
It's going to be a nice and easy one this year. We're just going to do a lot of walking and a lot of good food and a lot of good cheer and a good rest.
Oh, wonderful. And hopefully not snowed in. If you've got snow where you are, in the chat, leave them there now. I can see them as the credits go up. Put in what's going on. Let me just get up and look out the window. Hang on. Oh, no. Nothing here yet. Snowed, and it's Monday tomorrow. Oh, I've got a day off tomorrow, so I don't get a snow day anyway. Tell us in the chat if you've got snow. I want to see if you've got snow where you are. Thank you very much, Carol. Thank you for your time, and thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you. Bye. Tell us if you've got snow.
Bye.
Tell us if you've got snow.